Hi friends! Today we're going to keep reading the story of Finding Winnie, which we started yesterday. So remember, this is a true story. Even though it sounds like a story, it's actually non-fiction because it's something that really happened. And it's actually teaching us something about a very famous bear called Winnie the Pooh. Do you have a guess yet who Winnie the Pooh is going to be? Remember, the story is called Finding Winnie. So when we stopped reading yesterday, Harry, who's the veterinarian, was just about to go off to war with the other soldiers. And here he is taking a picture, and there's Winnie with all the other soldiers. And right here, it looks like Harry is saying goodbye to Winnie, right? I'm going to read the last page that we read just before I stopped yesterday. It was winter when the order came. The time had come to fight, which means the soldiers are going to have to really go into the war where there's fighting. Winnie posed proudly with the men for pictures to send home to their families. Harry thought for a long time. His head argued one way and then the other, but his heart made up his mind. He went to Winnie and said in a serious way, "There's somewhere we need to go." Winnie brushed the mud off her nose and nuzzled in close. Where do you think they're going? Here they are. They're driving across England. Look at that old-fashioned car. Looks like Winnie's having fun. Harry drove all the way to the big city. Do you know the name of a big city in England? Here we are, said Harry. The London Zoo. What? Hi, London. The London Zoo. London is the biggest city in England. Harry took a deep breath. Winnie, this is going to be your home for a while, he said. She tilted her head. We're shipping out to France, he explained. I have to take care of the horses at the front. The front is where the fighting is in the war. She rested her big head against him. I know you want to come, but it's not safe. Winnie's head bowed. Harry's hands were warm as sunshine, as usual. There is something you must always remember, Harry said. It's the most important thing, really. Even if we're far apart, I'll always love you. You'll always be my bear. Is that the end? That's the end of Harry and Winnie's story, I said. Remember, this whole story is a mom telling her son a true story. So Cole is the little boy listening to the story, and his mom is telling him. But I don't want it to be over, said Cole. Sometimes, I said, you have to let one story end so the next one can begin. How do you know when that will happen? You don't, I said, which is why you should always carry on. What do you think that's a picture of? I'm going to try to get really close so you can see it. It looks like a map of the zoo. And I bet if we looked really carefully, we could even find where Winnie is. I think that's her over here. Do you think that's her? Maybe. It looks like a whole new story is about to start. Let's see. Once upon a time, there was a little boy with a stuffed bear. He'd had his bear ever since he was a baby, but somehow the boy never found the right name for him. He'd tried Teddy and Edward and even Big Bear. Did you ever have a stuffed animal that you had trouble figuring out a name for? I used to have that problem too. He could not think of the right name for his bear. One day, the boy went to visit the London Zoo with his father, and there was a bear, a real bear, on the terraces there. Right away, the boy thought, there is something special about that bear. Her name was, can you guess? Winnie. They became true friends. The boy was allowed to come right inside her enclosure to play. Once the boy had found Winnie, he knew just what to call his stuffed bear. He named it Winnie the Pooh. And the boy was called Cole, said Cole. His name was Christopher Robin. Christopher Robin Milne. Christopher Robin would visit Winnie at the zoo, and then he would take his stuffed animal on all sorts of adventures in the wood behind his home. His father, Alan Alexander Milne, wrote books all about them. Guess what? A. Milne, that was his dad. Harry's Winnie became Winnie the Pooh, and there has never been a more beloved bear. But what about Harry? Asked Cole. Well, when Harry visited Winnie at the London Zoo, he saw how happy she was. She was being raised. She was truly loved. And that was all he had ever wanted from the moment they met at the train station in White River. So, after the war, Harry returned to Winnipeg and his life as an animal doctor. Before long, he was married and had a son named Fred. And Fred had a daughter named Laureen, and Laureen had a daughter named Lindsay, which is me, not me, the mom who's telling the story. And then I had a son. When I saw you, I thought, there is something special about this boy, so I named you after your great-great-grandfather, Captain Harry Colborne. I named you Cole. So here's Harry coming home from the war, ready to start his family. And in this picture, this is called a family tree. So you can see there's Harry, who's the one who first adopted Winnie. There's his son Fred. There's Fred and his daughter, Laureen. Now here's Laureen and her daughter, Lindsay, and that's the mom in the story. And here's Lindsay and her son, Cole. So this is called a family tree. You might ask somebody in your family what your family tree looks like. What are your grandparents' names? What are your great-grandparents' names? It could be interesting to make a tree that looks like that. That's me, said Cole in a whisper. That's you. And that's Winnie? Yes, I said. That's Winnie. And it's all real? Sometimes the best stories are, I said. Cole's eyes grew big, and he said nothing for a long time. Then he hugged his own bear close and let out a yawn that reached far away, and they both turned over and fell asleep. There's Cole and his mom and his bear. Now they're looking at something that's called an album. Here's the album. An album is a book where you put pictures. We don't do that as much as we used to do because now most of our pictures are in our phone. But a long time ago, we used to take pictures and put them in an album. So this book actually has an album with real photographs in it, and I'm going to try to show them to you. So this first one, can you guess who that is? That's Harry as a young soldier. Can you see what's in this picture? It looks like a calendar, right? It says, Harry kept diaries throughout World War I. This was the diary from 1914, the first year of the war. The diary page from the day Harry found Winnie. On August 24th, 1914, he wrote, "Bought a bear, $20. Three soldiers with Winnie at her post. Winnie and Harry have what appears to be a laugh and a snack. I love that picture. Look at that. And then let me see if you can see this big one down at the bottom. Harry and his fellow soldiers with their mascot, Winnie. Can you see Winnie in there? That makes me think about the illustration we saw. Do you remember this one? It looked just like that photograph. I bet the artist looked at the photograph before she made the picture. What else do we have? This picture of Winnie and Harry inspired the statues that now stand in Winnipeg and London. So there's the real life picture, and there's the statue in Winnipeg was unveiled in 1992. That's Harry and Winnie. This is a photo of Winnie and Christopher Robin in 1925 at the zoo after they became friends. Christopher Robin's father, A. Millen, watches them play from above. That's pretty hard to see, but there's a dad standing up above watching them together. And then at the bottom you can see there's some writing. It says, "This official animal record card shows that Winnie began her stay at the London Zoo on December 9th, 1914. And here's the last picture. Can you guess who that is? Lindsay, that's the author, and Cole in 2013. We knew there was something special about this boy." And that's the end of Finding Winnie. I hope you liked that book and learned something about how sometimes a real story can be nonfiction. So for today, remember, you have 5 things that you're going to do every day, right? So this was your first thing. First thing we did was our read aloud Finding Winnie. Next thing you're going to do is your independent practice. That's when you go on Clever and you practice your reading and your math and playing on Seesaw. Number 3, do you remember what it was? Exercise! You can do some Go Noodle, or you can go outside with your family if they're comfortable with you doing that, and play outside a little bit. 1, 2, 3. Number 4 was, read a book. If you have a book that you really liked reading on Raz Kids today, you could read it with somebody in your family, or ask someone in your family to read a book to you. And number 5, think about something kind you can do to help somebody out in your family today. Now, I know everybody has been working really hard this week. We've been doing a lot of work. So guess what I have for you today? I have some choice time. Let's think about some of our favorite games from choice time. We love to play Uno. We love to play Connect 4. So I found a website where you can go on and play some of those games. Some of them you can play by yourself, and some of them you can play with the computer, which means that, like if you're playing Uno, actually the computer is playing with you. They're really fun. It's all free, and I think you'll find a lot of the games that we like to play in the classroom. Okay, everybody, have fun. I'll see you soon.